Yes, hello everyone, welcome to the last word. I'm in the car because it's got windy and I only took this in. I didn't take the full kit in because they're very strict at the Etihad over the years. I just didn't want to risk it, but I'm back in the car. I put the match reaction out. You've seen the vlog as well. We're going to talk about the ticketing thing a little bit later on, the rest outside, of course the match as well, and how far are we away from Manchester City. And this is the last word. Yes, hello everyone. If you're watching this in the middle of the night, thanks for staying up. If you're watching it in the morning, hello to yous. This is the last word. Just me in Manchester this evening, so the rest of the lads have other commitments, and we've also done a pub watch along, which is fantastic. We are sponsored by Green King, so big massive shout to Green King for first of all for allowing us to host the event and put on a free tab, free booze on there as well. You can watch loads and loads of Newcastle games every time there's a televised game. You can go to your Green King pub. They even take dogs in. I'll take my little dog Ferdinand, and yeah, go and have a look. Green King Sport are the place to be, and they sponsor us, and we are absolutely delighted to have them on board with us. But let's get cracking with the last word. You can probably tell by me tone I'm more frustrated, which I will come on to. I haven't really got that out of my system yet. I need to ring somebody and get vent, I think. But look, we'll start with the lineup with Newcastle United. It was unchanged. That didn't surprise me. I thought it would be the same. Done it on the tactic board the other day. Doesn't surprise me one bit. So it's the same lineup. I think Harvey Barnes probably feels a little bit hard done by. He scored 3 in 2 games and still can't get in that start lineup. And Wilson scored last week. But overall, I wasn't too surprised about it. But it was more a case, can Newcastle go and capitalise on Manchester City's injury worries, because they've got no De Bruyne. I thought that could have been key for Newcastle to win that midfield battle. I mentioned it on the tactical board. I thought we didn't win that midfield battle at all. I thought our centre midfield were actually really poor. I think Tonali was off it. Bruno was probably the best out of 3. Joe Linton wasn't at it for me. I'm not just picking on them 3. I just felt that that's where the battle could have been won tonight. But yeah, well, that's the lineup. Going into the game then, everybody, I was talking to fans coming in, talking to a couple of other YouTubers like Adam P and Matty, because Matty was next to me renting from the Magpie channel. Everybody seemed optimistic going into this game, thinking, right, okay, we can get a point at least. At least we can get a point from here tonight. This is the best chance. Newcastle have a great run of form, continuing from last season, start the season off brilliantly. This is our first defeat in something like, I don't know, 12, 13 games. Might even go further all the way back because we're unbeaten in pre-season. But it's just frustrating because obviously, start the game off, Manchester City had a lot of possession. We didn't create anything at all. For me, obviously, Alvarez, it's frustrating because he's got so much space. And don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic goal finish, brilliant from defensively. 2 men come over, leaving him free, and he pings the top corner. We had a great angle of it, me and Matty, and it's just 1-0. 1-0's not the worst in the world of the Etihad. Let's not lie. The longest you stay in the game, you've always got a chance. And Newcastle in that first half, for me, were just going sideways. It was slow. It just looked lethargic. There was just something wasn't clicking for me. It just wasn't there, and we just didn't create anything. To be fair, though, defensively, we didn't let Manchester City have too many shots at Nick Pope either. As a neutral, this game's awful to watch. It was built up as like, wow, what a game that's going to be on Saturday night. But realistically, this game was awful to watch. It was dire from both sides. Manchester City fans, I'm sure they're watching this, will say it's not a great game of football, but you know what? They won ugly. They deserve to win, I think, though. But if you look at the course of the play, though. Second half, Newcastle were better. The tempo was a little bit better. But we just weren't creating again. We just weren't creating. It was frustrating again. Bruno dragged a shot wide. We kept pinging it over to Miggy on the right-hand side. Miggy was poor tonight. Hasn't got a right foot, man. Hasn't got a right foot, and it cost over and over again. And Sean, when he came on, he was giving the ball away. Miggy wasn't great. It was just several people that just weren't at it tonight, and you've got to be when you come here at Etihad. I really do feel it's a point lost tonight. I think a point was staring us in the face if we just create a little bit more. We had 1 shot, which Edison saved, and apart from that, we had nout. We didn't even test him. He's got one of the lowest save percentages in the Premier League, despite his distribution being brilliant. I'm frustrated at that. Yes, the substitutions, Eddie Howe was trying to freshen up Isaac, Wilson, Barnes, Gordon, midfielders, Anderson, Longstaff. Livramento made his debut. Good to see him on the right wing later on, but that was too late for me. Jacob Murphy wasn't played, so that must be a little bit of doubt over him, because naturally you think Murphy would come on there. But yeah, it's frustrating. And obviously Haaland was a good battle between him and Botman. I thought Botman handled it really, really well. Haaland is so fucking strong. He is so strong wrestling, but I think Botman, takes credit away from it tonight. I think Fabian Schär was a little bit worried about him about his shoulder at the beginning of the game, but he was fine. I think defensively we were all right. A couple of times where, Manchester City were running in on goal, but we had plenty of defenders blocking, which was good. I think Phil Foden ran the show for me. I think he's quite clearly man of the match. He was absolutely brilliant. And, sometimes you've got to look at it neutral and think, oh, we look at Newcastle, but no, you've got to look at the overall game and say, yeah, Foden was class. Foden was mint tonight. Credit to him. He shone where he didn't score high, but he really shone tonight for me. And, you look at it and you look at now the full time when the whistle goes, how far away are Newcastle from Manchester City? Judging that with Manchester City's injuries and Newcastle effectively, barring Joe Willock, who may or may not have started because Kraft wouldn't, that's almost effectively a full strength Newcastle side. And the final third, just lacking. Tonali, Joe Linton, Miggy, Isaac barely got a touch. So there's several people me that struggle a little bit. Of course, we win as a team, we lose as a team as well, but we are a little bit away. We're not going to challenge. I know Stuart Pearce said that Newcastle could go and challenge for the title. Nah, but that's not the case for us. I think for us as fans, for me, I think realistically winning a cup is got to be a target. Going far in the Champions League. If you don't make the Champions League, getting into Europa League, finishing third in the group stage, win that. Remember the coefficiency this season as well will change. So it's likely that Spain and England will get an extra place each. So we'll have 5 teams. So I didn't want to confuse. There's too much on that as well. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And obviously, Lewis Hall will be announced very, very shortly, of course. He's not going to be playing with any academy or anything daft like that. He'll be playing in the first team, rotated as well. We've obviously got the domestic cups, League Cup, third round will enter, the FA Cup in the new year. But we are a little bit away. But it's very, very early on the season. We've got a very, very tough start. You talk Manchester City tonight. We've battered Aston Villa, which is a hell of a result. Liverpool next at home. Got to be confident. Why not? You've got to be confident. And then we've got Brighton, who are scoring goals 4-1s each week in a minute. So, but anyways, I will talk about the ticketing and the arrest outside, because I do want to bring that up. I think it's important. But let's switch to Eddie Howe and his thoughts on the game tonight.
Tough game, as we knew it would be. They're an elite team, and we tried our best to execute our plan. We tried to press them high and make it difficult for them. I thought they did well against that in the first half. I thought we did better in the second. But when the moments came for us, we weren't clinical enough. The second half showing was much better. There were moments for us. I thought fitness-wise, we looked good. I thought technically we were off today, and I think that's probably where we lost the game. We turned the ball over quite a bit in comfortable areas. I have to compliment the back four, because I thought we defended their transitions really well, and they had a number in the game.
So there you go. And there's Eddie Howe's thoughts on the tune. He's frustrated. I am as well, because I think it's genuinely. I think we could have got a point tonight. Could break the horrible record. We've won only once ever at the Etihad when it was built, and that was obviously the famous League Cup win with Roland Aarons and Musa Sissoko and all them playing. But look, if we talk about off the field stuff going in early on the night, I was with Adam P talking to him about it as well, and the ticketing situation. I think first of all, I think it is a good thing for fans who haven't had the opportunity to go to games, because this dropped down to 10 points. Brighton's currently on 40, and that'll go down. I think that's a great opportunity. I've seen a lot of new faces tonight who I haven't seen at away games for such a long time. Seen obviously the regular faces and all them, like Daz, Curry, etc. But the new people, there were new people there tonight. I haven't seen some of these at away games, and they've had the opportunity now to go, and I think that's good. I think it's good that they're clamping down on things like that. But also on the flip side as well, with the ticketing thing, people have to use, other people's tickets to go to games. So you're taking that away, and they've been paying, and I get the club why they're doing it, but it's how you It's how you sit. And I think it's better. I do think it's better in terms of allowing people who couldn't get to, because Derek, who's sitting on 120 points, for example, sells his ticket on to a young lad called Joe, who's 14, who gets to go to the game. Derek gets the point. I think that has to stop, and that's fair. Whereas the people who can't get a games, who maybe live down south, don't have a season ticket, they're never going to get an away game now. So I can say that for their frustration. But going in, obviously tonight, Manchester City, the club announced to everybody that there will be spot checks for IDs and stuff like that. I was even worried about my own ticket. I was thinking, God, is my ticket a dog? Because I feel a bit stupid if my ticket doesn't scan. And I was thinking, God, I might have to get at the box office. I had my ID, I had to bring me drive licence. Again, I understand why they're doing it. I really do. I understand. Again, they're trying to stop it. I think it's also, I think it will be a good thing in the future. I think it has a lot of teething problems currently at the minute, the ticketing thing. I know 2 people who had digital tickets who were refused tonight. I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to show their identity, but they were visibly quite upset that they couldn't get into the ground. I don't know if they got into the ground afterwards. I was speaking to them very, very briefly for a minute or 2, but they weren't best pleased. They looked quite upset. So I don't understand the logics behind that. And then obviously the 2 lads that were arrested, they were having just a bit of fun. The 2 lads, they came in with flares, and you're asking for it. It's outside the ground. You've got black and white flares. They're having a good time. And I think the police could have handled that a lot better. I really, really do. Now, some of our police forces do fantastic jobs across the UK. I'm not going to criticise the police, but I do think that should have been handled better. They were pinned at the floor, like classed as criminals. 4 or 5 of them on top of them. I think that was wrong. They could have seen, right, lads, I need to remove you. Come on, let's move. I just think that was handled a bit like criminals. I thought, look, there's a couple of lads here who were just trying to have a bit of fun and enjoying themselves with the atmosphere. Yes, they've got flares, and I understand they're not allowed inside the stadium. I don't even know if they had tickets, to be honest with you. But it could have been handled better. It really, really could have. So a bit negative going into the ground, but it's teething problems. But in the long run, I think it's a good thing. But I think there's going to be more hurt in the short term than the long term currently in the minute, especially for those who've been going for years, who now don't have the opportunity with all these checks. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But overall, the game, frustration. I think we could have nicked something. Roll on Liverpool there next week at St James's Park. Help us out if you can, please do, because I'm doing it all on my own today. I've got 4 videos, and I'll be sitting in this car. You'll probably know already, the long-term subscribers. I'll be in this car until what time is it now? It is 11:10, and I've still got to edit the vlog. That'll take us an hour. I'll probably not leave Manchester till probably 12:30 and pop to McDonald's something for me tea on the way home, and then it's a 2.5 hour drive, and then I'm going to do the last word back at home. Yes, so if you can hit that like, and also big shout out to Carl, who put a fantastic show on. Unbelievable graphics, unbelievable sound and camera work as well, Carl. I know I'll tell you personally, but I just want to do public, Carl. Absolutely mint. We've been pushing our content really, really hard lately. I hope you at home have been enjoying it, especially Andrew's video the other night. Different styles of videos that I've been doing as well. Doing the match reaction, different ideas, doing it around the ground rather than just at the car park. We're trying to bring you better content and engagement as well. We're going to bring in a fan show once a week as well. But anyways, I am frustrated. But come on, Lee. We're in the Champions League. We've just been beaten off the champions 1-0. It's a lot better than what you think. Right, drop us a like, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.